Good evening, board. Thank you so much for allowing us to come to you and visit with you tonight regarding all the good things going on in the specialized learning department. We're going to summarize our department initiatives and look at what we're going to do throughout the year. I'm going to start off tonight talking about special education and then talk about dyslexia. Then Shannon Thompson's going to talk about 504, and Lisa Knight will follow up with the bilingual ESL and federal programs update. So when we look at specialized learning, we always remember that our students are general education first. So when we look at the Goal 1 in the District Improvement Plan, the design innovative learning environment while increasing academic rigor follows through with special ed just like it does with general ed. So when we look at the Performance Objective 1, design, develop, and support aligned K-2 curriculum, that is the same as special ed. When we look at education expectations, we want to make sure that we provide the same opportunities for those students as they have with their peers, that we want to provide innovative learning environment, increasing academic rigor, but all of this looking at special ed student needs. There is a connection to the superintendent matrix, just as it is for general ed. You know, when Ms. Nix, Ms. Krisnack, and Ms. Wigginton have come to you and talk about early literacy and early math, college and career readiness, we typically think about programs for general ed students. However, the same applies to the special education students because we do have special ed students in those programs. So the superintendent metrics, as well as the principal metrics, follow under that with the SIP at the campus level and DIP at the district level. So on September 1st at the board workshop, you asked, is what we're doing working, and how do we know? So we're here tonight to say, yes, we think it is working, and here's how we think we know. To start with, just want to touch base on how do you qualify for special education? And I lovingly say not just anybody can get in our club, but the student has to meet the eligibility criteria through an evaluation first. And then there must be an educational need for specially designed instruction. Just an eligibility or a diagnosis doesn't make a person or a student eligible for special education. They have to have the educational need as well. So what special ed programs do we have in MISD? I like to say we have a buffet of services. All campuses have resource classes for reading, language arts, and math. All campuses have content mastery and learning lab, or we call it the NET at the secondary or high school levels. All campuses have inclusion programs. That's where we have we have special ed staff that goes into the general ed classroom and helps our special education students in that class. That could be a student who's learning disabled, or it could be a student who's coming from a life skills classroom and going into the general ed class, and we have paras who go in to support those students in that gen ed classroom. And then all campuses have speech. What additional programs do we have at each campus? As you can see, we have quite a few programs. Vitovsky Elementary has ECSE, that's called Early Childhood Special Education, and that's for our babies 3 to 5 years old. It's a self-contained program. Irvin has an ECSE. Mountain Peak Elementary has an ECSE, but they also have CBI, which is life skills, and BAC, which is a behavior adjustment class for our friends who have some emotional difficulties. Miller has got a CBI in LEAD, that's Language Enrichment and Articulation Development. That is a walk-in speech program, but it's 2 days a week, 90 minutes a day. And so we have two sections on Monday, Wednesday, and 2 sections on Tuesday, Thursday. Baxter Elementary has an ECSE. They have 2 CBIs at their campus, and then they have a BAC. And McClatchy has a CBI and a BAC. The BAC at McClatchy was just opened last year due to our numbers, and because the numbers have continued to grow, we opened a BAC at Baxter this year, and we thank you so much for allowing us to do that. Long Branch has 2 ECSEs. When we look at ECSE, we have to be real careful because you have to make sure that we partner those with a pre-K classroom so that our ECSE students have some gen ed friends to go include with. So every time you see an ECSE at a campus, there's also a pre-K there. McClatchy, not McClatchy, DMS, Dietrich has a CBI and a partner PE. Walnut Grove has a CBI and partner PE. Frank Seal has BAC, 2 CBIs and a partner PE. Frank Seal has the only BAC at the middle school level. Heritage has a CBI and partner PE, and MHS has 2 CBIs, a 9, 10, 11, 12. They've got a BAC. They've got Transitions, which is an 18-plus program, and then they've got Partners PE and peer coaching. And at Elevate, that's an 18-plus program, and that is at Navarro and Waxahachie. Our 18-plus programs, which is Transitions and Elevate, those programs are both for MHS as well as Heritage students. Our special ed numbers are growing. 2018, we had 1019 on Snapshot. And in 2019, we had 1,194 students. And then on Snapshot for 2020, which was last Friday, we had, or October 30th, we had 1,280 students. So when we look at how that's broken down as instructional settings, speech-only students is 250, self-contained, that's ECSE, CBI, BAC, and then both of our 18-plus programs is 174 students. Then the other programs, resource, inclusion, content mastery, that has is a total of 856 in those programs. And that's all for a grand total of 1,280 students. So as far as professional development that we have provided, the special ed teachers, they participate in all the PD opportunities just as general ed teachers, because our students are required to take all district and state assessments just as their general ed peers do. So those teachers have to have that same knowledge and skill set. In addition, we provide training specific to special education disabilities, laws, and best practices. And then we are having individual campus meetings to discuss data on the performance indicators and strategies to look at and address areas of need for individual student growth. We are having monthly lead sped teacher meetings so that we can go in, look and see talk to the teachers and provide support. And it also gives us the opportunity to stay abreast of what the campus needs. So how do we measure progress in special ed? Each student in special ed has an individual education plan, or IEP, which is developed by the special ed teacher to address the student's individual needs. This IEP is presented at the ARD meeting, which is a special ed meeting that is held yearly, or it could be or annually, but it could be held more often. But it involves the parent, the general ed teacher, special ed teacher, an administrator, and any other stakeholders. And at the secondary level, our students participate in those meetings. But the special ed teacher comes and presents the IEP, and then they determine if that's appropriate, and that's the goal that the student has, or the goals that the student has for the following year. So in addition to report cards, every special ed student receives a progress report on his or her IEP goals at the end of each grading period. So the student gets a report card as well as a progress report on the IEP goals and objectives. Data from the PIs, or the performance indicators given this year, show for grades 2 through 12, are showing that our students have scored on average 10 points below their gen ed peers. So, I know that's below, but remember they're special ed students, and so there is a deficit. But I'm really proud that with COVID and everything else going on, that on an average of 10 points, I think that I'm real proud of our students, and I'm proud of our staff. That's a lot of work that's showing. We have a partner program in MISD, and that involves partner PE as well as elementary partners who go in classrooms and work with our students. It's on hold now due to COVID, but it has been a real strength program that we have. We currently have 78 partners between the 2 high schools and 37 at the 3 middle schools. These are some partner pictures. These are all pre-COVID, so they're not wearing masks. But if you'll look, the partners are supporting our special friends. And then over on the right, there's a partner with two friends in a grocery store, and we go on those community trips, is what we call them, not a field trip, because everything that they do is a teachable moment, if you will. And so it ties back to their IEP goals and objectives. And we learn the skills in the classroom, and then we generalize it and take it out into the community. Here's some more pictures of Special Olympics. Again, these are pre-COVID, so they are not wearing masks. The Elevate program at Navarro and Waxahachie is a great program. We began that program in Navarro, Waxahachie in 2008, and it started with 10 students age 18 and plus to provide vocational and on-the-job training. I always thought, you know, our students who are 18 and over, they've already gone and taken electives and things like that at MHS. I was like, that was back before we had two high schools. And I just wanted them to be able to participate in a program with age-appropriate peers. So when I went to Waxahachie and visited with Kristen Walker, who did the continuing education program at Navarro at that time, she was excited and jumped right in with me. So we started only with Midlothian students the first year, just so we could tweak and make sure that we got everything ironed out before we offered it up. So then we opened it up to Ellis County districts. The program focuses on employability skills for individual students, and these students attend a vocational class for half day at Navarro, and then they work in the community for the other half day with a job coach who provides support as needed. This is offered the opportunity for other Ellis County districts to participate. We offered that in 2009, like I said, the next year, and so we've been going since. Waxahachie and Red Oak currently have students in the Elevate program along with our MISD students. Waxahachie has had students participate in and out, but Red Oak has really been one that has had the most students that have participated every year with us. MISD is the fiscal agent of the Elevate program, and the teacher is an employee of MISD, but her salary is paid proportionately by the number of students that each district has in the program. So in its 12 years, the Elevate program has provided services to 75 plus students, not only from MISD, but from other Ellis County districts as well. Transitions is a program that is housed at MHS. So remember, Elevate is at Navarro. However, those are students from both MHS and Heritage. And then Transitions is housed at MHS, but it also has students from MHS and Heritage. We began this program in 2018 for our 18 plus students, and it's another option for those who don't attend the Elevate program in Navarro. So this program is housed at MHS, but like I said, it houses or takes care of students from both high schools. This focuses on functional daily living skills as well as post-secondary skills needed for students, and it's again on an individual basis. The services provided for students, all services are provided for students that qualify or eligible for services from birth to 21, but the Transitions and Elevate is 18 to their 21st birthday. Most of these students reside with their families, but some live in group homes. And then another focus of this group is to make sure that they are connected and able to access services with outside agencies once they leave the program. So now we'll move into dyslexia. Again, just wanting to make sure that we tie everything back to the district improvement plan, and everything is aligned. We look at, again, the goal 1, performance objective 4, and then drill down to strategy 3, which this is dyslexia is specifically noted under strategy 3, to provide tools and support to ensure all students' needs are met and data is maintained to track progress. So we use the multisensory teaching approach, which is based off the Scottish Rite program, and it's used across many districts in the state of Texas. Our special education diagnosticians are trained through Scottish Rite to provide the dyslexia assessment in addition to the full individual education evaluation that we provide. MISD dyslexia teachers completed their certified academic language practitioner training last year through the June Shelton School, and then we're following up this year with coaching through that same program. And we had the CALP coaching last week. And so here they are working together. And of course, this is during COVID, so they do have on their masks, and or they are also socially distancing. Staff and parent training. All staff were previously trained in the dyslexia simulation, and it portrays the frustration that our students feel on a daily basis. We were not able to fulfill this training with the new staff this year or this summer due to staff being trained for virtual learning. We're making plans to follow up on the training with new teachers when we can have them face-to-face. And then parents participated in virtual dyslexia night on October 22nd. But in addition, we've also provided links for our parents to be able to join meetings through Region 10 that are for parents in the Region 10 area. We would like to provide the simulation experience for our parents as we've done in the past, just like we've done the teachers. However, it's not as effective if it's not done face-to-face. So we're going to wait to be able to do that because it's, like I said, it's not as effective in a virtual setting. Staffing across the district. Each elementary campus has one full-time dyslexia teacher, in addition to another teacher who provides dyslexia as well as ESL. And then each middle school has a teacher who provides dyslexia instruction. And then we currently only have one student at the high school level that receives dyslexia. However, we've got teachers who are trained should others need that service. Our dyslexia numbers have grown as well. In 1819, we had 528 students, which was 5.62% of our gen ed population, or overall population. In 2019-20, we had 665 students, which was 6.83% of our overall population. And then in 2021, as of snapshot last Friday, our numbers were 687, and that was 6.97% of the overall population. And I think when we look to see is what we're doing working, I think that we're definitely identifying students, and therefore with this growth and identification of these numbers, I think we're able to really provide the services that the students need and hopefully don't have students falling through the cracks. Now we're going to turn it over to Shannon Thompson, and she is going to discuss 504.
Good evening, board. Thanks for the opportunity to present to you tonight. We are going to be talking a little bit about 504. So as Mrs. Wolf has said, 504 also aligns to our district improvement plan goal number 1, performance objective 4, talking about all students, and then strategy 3, provide tools and support to ensure that all students' needs are met and data is maintained to track progress. Let's talk a little bit about the history of 504. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 is a federal civil rights law that prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities. It has been amended several times to encompass more disabilities. In 2009, it was amended to allow dyslexic students and students with diabetes under the 504 umbrella. To be protected under Section 504, a student must be determined to have a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. For example, if a student had asthma, their major life activity would be breathing. That might be limited. If a student has dyslexia, their major life activity would be reading or learning. An evaluation meeting is then held to determine if a student requires a 504 plan with accommodations. Students with diabetes or students with asthma wouldn't have a plan with accommodations. They might just have a health plan that is filed with the school that is needed should something arise. This last slide just talks a little bit about special education versus 504. Special education is a function, of course, of special education, whereas 504 is a general education program. Special education does involve specialized instruction like resource, inclusion, the special programs Mrs. Wolf talked about, and students that have IEP goals that are measured. A 504 would just provide a plan with accommodations to help a student in class. For special ed, students receive additional funding for students. However, in 504, there are no additional funds that are gained for our 504 students. In special education, a person would qualify with one of 13 disabilities. In 504, it just states that a person has a disability. That's all that's needed to be recognized under 504. Special ed focuses on what the students learn, so they have goals that are centered around the content that they need to master, whereas 504 focuses on how students learn. So we look at their disability, we look at accommodations that would help them in the classroom to help them be successful. Special education has very specific timelines that must be followed. Annual ARDS evaluations have to be redone every 3 years. Initial evaluations have to be done within 45 days that we get consent, and then we go to ARD within 30 days. On 504, there are no specific timelines. They say that just a 504 meeting needs to be held every 3 years. However, in Midlothian, we do what is best practice and we hold annual meetings. Mrs. Wolf talked a little bit about the required members that are needed in an ARD meeting, being an administrator, a diagnostician or speech language pathologist, a general ed teacher, a special ed teacher, and then anyone else, other stakeholders that might work with that kiddo. In 504, there are no required members in a 504 meeting. Of course, the parent would be there, usually an administrator and a counselor. The parent is also a member of the ARD committee. Now let's look at the similarities. Both 504 require parental consent, and both are offered at no cost to families and students. Both of these programs must meet the needs of individual students, so their 504s and IEPs will look different. They must be tailored to that student's needs. Here are 504 numbers by snapshot date. So in 2018, we had 920 on snapshot, 2019, 934, and 2020, we had 918. Last year, at the end of the year, we actually ended up with 962 504 students. I looked at some of these numbers to see why our number this year was a little bit lower. We did have 70 students that graduated in 2020, so that accounts for some of those kiddos. Some of our students that were in 504 were evaluated and moved to special education umbrella. And then there are some students that withdrew from MISD to go to another district or their family moved. Thank you for the opportunity to present, and please let me know if you have any questions. Now, Mrs. Knight will present on specialized programs.
Good evening, board. My name is Lisa Knight. Thank you for the opportunity to share some information with you about special and federal programs. We're going to remain with Goal 1, designing innovative learning environments while increasing academic rigor through aligned teaching and learning, and Performance Objective 1, design, develop, and support aligned K-12 curriculum, providing challenging academic content standards and aligned academic achievement standards. As we discuss the following programs: Bilingual, ESL, McKinney-Vento Homeless Education, Migrant Education Program, ESSA Federal Title Funds, and State Compensatory Education. The programs for English learners are bilingual and English as a second language. And how do students qualify for these programs? Students whose home language is not English are given an assessment that determines the level of English proficiency. The Language Proficiency Assessment Committee determines the program placement, and once the student is in the program, the student must meet state exit criteria. The bilingual program is for language minority students. Our program began in 2003. The program was required once we had at least 20 students in the same language of Spanish in the same grade. It's currently housed at J.A. Vitosky Elementary. Transportation is provided for students from other MISD attendance zones who qualify. The program model for pre-K through fourth grade is dual language enrichment one way. The goal is to attain full proficiency in the first language as well as English, with at least half of the instruction delivered in the student's primary language for the duration of the program. Fifth grade is in the last year of late exit bilingual model, as we've been transitioning to the dual language program a grade level each year. English as a second language is provided at all MISD campuses for students in pre-K through 12th grade who meet eligibility criteria. The 6th through 12th grade ESL students are served through their language arts, English, or ESL pullout, depending on the need of the student and as determined by the LPAC. All teachers providing services are appropriately certified. MISD has 24 teachers working in either bilingual or ESL classrooms, not including the English or language arts teachers who have ESL certification. This is a sample of pre-K bilingual journal writing, and an emphasis of the dual language program is daily writing across the curriculum. This is another picture of a bilingual classroom. This is kindergarten bilingual. We have some other pictures of our dual language classrooms. And here's another one. And then these are some numbers of our English learner students from 2019 to 20 and 2020 to 21. We had, in our bilingual students, pre-K through fifth grade, for the 2019-20 year, we had 143. And this year, so far, we have 133 in the pre-K through fifth grade. Our ESL students, there are 216. And this year, there are 234. Last year, there were 359, and this year there are 367. We were able to reclassify or exit 20 students out of our bilingual and ESL program last year. Texas English Language Proficiency Assessment System. The English learner students are given the state-required assessment in addition to the STAR test. Students are scored in 4 domains of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Writing is usually the last area that students gain proficiency. In grades K through 1, students are assessed by their teacher with a holistic rubric. In grades 2 through 12, students are given a computer-based test in the areas of listening, speaking, and reading, and they're scored by their teacher in writing. Students may attain a beginning, intermediate, advanced, or advanced high rating, with advanced high being the best. For the past year, the requirement for reclassification as an English proficient student was to attain an advanced high rating in all 4 domains of listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and to meet standard on STAR. STAR was waived due to COVID-19, but 20 students met reclassification criteria. I've combined 2 years worth of data on this slide, and it's a little bit difficult to read, I'll have to admit, but I wanted to show you that there is some growth with these students, the English learners. So we receive different types of reports. We receive grade level reports, campus level reports, and we receive a grade cluster report. So the K through 2 grade cluster in 2018-19 showed that 35% scored advanced and 6% scored advanced high on their TELPAS rating. And the next year, that same grade cluster scored 41% advanced and 7% advanced high. So there was so there was 48%. So they had a 7% increase. And for their average composite rating, there was an increase in their average composite rating. And then the 3rd through 12th grade cluster also had an increase. So 53% scored advanced, 20% scored advanced high, and the next year, 55% scored advanced and 28% scored advanced high. There was a 10% increase there. And you see in the average composite rating, they also scored advanced there and had an increase there. They take the listening, speaking, reading, and writing domains. They each count 25%, and that's how they come up with the average composite rating. Another indicator of progress, TEA expects a student to score or to increase, to advance one level, each proficiency level. They expect them to go up one level each year, such as from beginning to intermediate, intermediate to advanced. And for 2019 spring to 2020, 49% in the K through 2 grade cluster progressed at least one proficiency level. And then 49% in the 3rd through 12th grade cluster progressed at least one proficiency level from spring 2019 to spring 2020 also. And students usually need to be advanced or advanced high to be successful in school without support on the STAR test. This is the conversion chart that they use. These are not grade levels. This 1.0 to 1.4, this is not a grade level, but this is a composite score that they take, and that's what determines which level they are. When they get to advanced high, that's when it's determined that they would be able to sustain their academics without the support of an ESL teacher supporting them. And we're going to stay on goal 1 with design innovative learning environments while increasing academic rigor through aligned teaching and learning. As we look at performance objective 3, systematically support professional development in the implementation of a K through 12 aligned curriculum. We know that we need to target our professional development toward the needs of the learners, not just have professional development that we like or that we want. So when we determined that we had needs at 2 of the secondary campuses for the English learners, and the teachers and the staff felt like they'd had a need, that's where we decided to target that professional development. So in January of 2020, Midlothian High School teachers were presented research-based critiques by El Saber to help them address the needs of the English learner, differentiated by proficiency language level, aligned to the English language proficiency standards, and based on the needs. And this was determined by the campus. This wasn't something that we said, hey, you know, we're gonna present this to you because we want you to have this. This was something that the principal came and said, we really need this because our kids are struggling in this area. And then for the follow-up, we had something to follow up, which was academic vocabulary to that same campus. And Franksville Middle School received strategies aligned to the ELPS in August for them because they were going to have a larger group of English learners at their campus. The dual language teachers and the coordinator for special and federal programs attended virtual training and best practices, and 5 bilingual teachers, 2 ESL teachers, and the coordinator attended the national best practices in dual language conference. And we have provided dual language consultants to support the bilingual teachers with one-on-one coaching and curriculum support last fall. As a follow-up to the one-on-one coaching, a bilingual consultant was provided to those dual language teachers for more intensive curriculum support to help them in areas that they felt like they needed that support. This fall, we're going to continue with that. And also, all core content area teachers have the opportunity to receive sheltered instruction training to help them work with their English learners. Next, we'll talk about the McKinney-Vento Homeless Youth Program. homeless situations look different in a district like ours, and we don't have a lot of students that qualify as homeless, but right now we have 17, and 4 of those are unaccompanied youth. And what that really means is that the student is not living with a guardian parent. They may be living with a relative, or they may be a child that has left home or has been asked to leave home. Those numbers are included in these other numbers below, such as the doubled up. Doubled up could be an entire family, a mom and dad and the children living with another family. The unsheltered are people that may be living in a camper or something like that. The Migrant Education Program is for students who move or seek to obtain work in the area of fishing or agriculture. This could even be, building fences or something like that for a farm or ranch type situation, picking cotton. We don't have as many things out here in this area as we used to that would qualify for that. And also, our students tend to come and stay instead of move like they used to. A student maintains this identifier for 3 years, and then currently we do not have any students identified this way. Our ESSA federal funds supplement the basic programs. We apply for these funds annually. They are used to supplement what is required. They are used to achieve goals in the campus or district improvement plan. The goals are determined through the comprehensive needs assessment. Common uses of funds are additional staff, supplemental materials, high quality professional development. Title I funds are for the educationally disadvantaged. We have 4 campuses that are supported with Title I funds: T.E. Baxter, J.R. Irvin, Petoskey, and Frank Seal. And what we have with these funds are supplemental interventionists, supplemental parent education, and we also must set aside funds to support homeless. The Title II funds are for recruitment and retention of teachers and principal. And so we have a mentor program, and we also have recruitment and retention stipends for bilingual teachers, which is a hard to find area. And we also use our funds for targeted professional development. Title III funds are for second language acquisition to support the bilingual and ESL programs. And Title IV funds support activities for safe and healthy students, well-rounded educational opportunities, and SEL programs. And state compensatory funds. These funds are allocated to the district according to the number of students who qualify for free or reduced meals. And these funds are used to serve students who are at risk of dropping out of school in order to level the playing field. Thank you for the time to share with you this evening. If you have any questions, please contact me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Again, thank you, board, for allowing us to visit with you this evening and share the great things that are happening in the specialized learning department. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to support and assist. So let us know. Thank you so much.